We all woke up to this new True Social post from the president where he says, and I quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will." Garrett, his posts throughout this war have significantly ramped up, right? We had a pretty controversial post over the weekend. Who is the president wanting to address in this post? And how do you read into this escalation that he has put out on social media, including the ones that we saw over the weekend? You have Democratic lawmakers, by the way, that are calling it completely unstable and unhinged.
Yeah, well, let's take those things one at a time. The president, I think the rhetoric is sort of boundless, right? I mean, looking back to the start of this conflict and to Venezuela before that, there's nothing he's unwilling to say if he thinks it can be used to pressure his opponent or the person at the other side of the table into reaching some kind of a deal. I've been calling it just classic gunboat diplomacy. How much pressure can I put on you to make an agreement? It may or may not actually work, but it is very much the president's favorite tactic in these situations. And so I think there are multiple audiences for it. I think there's the Iranian regime audience. I think there's a little bit of a domestic audience. I also think there's a global audience here for other folks who might get into the Iranians' ears and say, like, look, he's serious. He means this. We've talked in the past about the kind of madman theory of politics as relates to Donald Trump, the idea that, like, if they believe he'll do anything, that people will want to make a deal with him to avert that possibility. And so this rhetoric is very useful. Now, there have been plenty of occasions in the past year and change since he's been back in the White House where he's made threats and since backed down. It's created that taco idiom that is popular on Wall Street. Trump always chickens out. And so I think there's, the threat, and then there's the possibility that the threat is just a talking point. But you mentioned these, Democratic politicians, a lot of other folks. You have to treat the possibility seriously, given what he's been willing to do so far, and people are. So I'm not discounting the possibility that we might face a very serious escalation of this war at 8 o'clock tonight. But I also think there are still hours to go with off-ramps of various size and legitimacy available to him, and those are still appealing for a lot of different reasons too.